By May 1973, I was on my way up to the northwest of England to take a leading part in the feature film of Swallows and Amazons that the producer, Richard Pilbrow of Theatre Projects, had somehow persuaded Nat Cohen of EMI to finance. I had no idea of the responsibility being laid on my shoulders or of the huge sums of money involved. I was just doing it for fun. My lack of concern emanates from the pages of the diary that I kept. I have 3 volumes in readable italic handwriting, detailing what we did, and indeed what we said on every single day. The wording is childlike, but as a little bit of film history, the diary provides the facts from an interesting angle. My mother was pleased when I started to type them up 40 years later. She'd been nagging me for years. On the inside cover of the first volume, I wrote, "I had been very lucky to be picked out of all those hundreds of children for one of the 6 who were cast. I had been in a film with Claude, the director, before, but only for 3 days. He shortlisted me for the part of Titty. I was then chosen with 22 others for a sailing holiday, a cold weekend in March at Burnham-on-Crouch, to see how we reacted and sailed. This weekend had proved something of an endurance test. It was miles from where we lived. The weather was awful, with driving rain falling on rough seas. The only warm piece of clothing that I took was a knitted hat. We slept in cabins aboard a permanently moored scout boat with flowery orange curtains. There were no parents around to boost our morale. The sailing was challenging, and I felt bitterly cold the entire time. Richard Pilbrow had brought his 2 children, Abigail and Fred. With him was Claude Wattham, Neville Thompson, the associate producer, and David Blagden, who, as Claude was no sailor, was to be the film's sailing director. He told us that he had read Swallows and Amazons 42 times, which sounded daunting. Out of an initial 1,800 who applied, 22 children had been shortlisted and were effectively auditioning for the 6 parts. I still meet people who went up for them. We didn't read from a script, we weren't asked to improvise or act out a scene, and there was no film test. But 8mm movie footage was taken. I wonder if it still exists. While there were only 2 or 3 boys up for the role of Roger, there were 5 girls auditioning to play Titty. At one stage, Claude had a chat with the 5 of us in our cabin, all the Titties. The others were so sweet that I didn't think I stood a chance. I was undeniably gangly and felt that I kept saying the wrong thing. One of the girls looked incredibly together. She had pretty fashionable clothes and would make a point of brushing her hair and wearing jewellery, just as Mummy would have liked me to have done. While I was used to boats, my sailing wasn't up to much. I was completely in awe of the seamanship of Kit Seymour, who would land the part of Nancy, and how fast she got the dinghies to whiz through the driving rain. We were all lucky to be the right age at the right time. I was perhaps the most fortunate because at 12 and a half I was really too tall for the part of Titty. I was a year older and a good 2 inches taller than Simon West, who played Titty's older brother John, but Claude must have known that he could cheat this on screen. I wrote, "In about a week's time, they rang up to say I had got the part, and Mummy a chaperone." One of Arthur Ransom's most famous quotes is, "Grab a chance and you won't be sorry for a might have been." The chance was grabbed. The Lake District gets very busy in July and August. So busy, the production team were advised to film during the summer term. This was a bit of an issue, as I was at a boarding school, a conventional Anglican convent. By law, before I could work as an actress, my parents needed formal written permission from Sister Anne Julian, my headmistress. This seemed unlikely. She wrote back, saying that she had prayed about it with my housemistress, Sister Allen. They gave us the go-ahead. The filming was to start on Monday, 14th of May, 1973. We were told there would be 46 days on location, with a full crew, for a 90-minute movie.